Teresa Stone with Simon Says Social and the Systems Lounge, and I want to welcome you today to the 2017 Business Systems Virtual Summit, where you will learn all about the business systems that our speakers use to get things done. Today, I am super excited to have Andrea Jones here to talk with us all about creating a social media content system. This is super important, guys. You want to stick around for this interview. Andrea is a social media manager and community builder. She creates engaging and beautiful content for lifestyle brands, startups, and small businesses in the fashion, wellness, and e-commerce industries. She's also the founder of sociallysavvyschool.com, a place where businesses discover the techniques of marketing their brand on social media. So I'm super excited to have her here today to talk to us all about marketing our own brands on social media. Andrea, welcome. It is so exciting to have you here.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that awesome intro. Yes, I'm super excited to be here.
This is a great topic, folks, because the latest Google algorithm dictates that you have to have, not maybe, not if, not when, you absolutely must have 30 to 40% of the content that you are releasing in the online space in some sort of social capacity. Google really wants us to start engaging with one another, and they're pushing that at us because if you're not social, you're not going to move up the search engine list. So we're going to talk all about how to get that going today. So Andrea, what is a social media content creation system? That's a big mouthful of information there. What is that exactly?
Yeah, it's basically the easiest way you can get to getting content out there on your social platforms without spending hours and hours every week and without starting from scratch every week. Nice. So just like the systems that you have in your business for payroll or for hiring people, you want to make sure that you have a system that makes creating content on social media super easy so you don't get intimidated, you don't get overwhelmed, and you actually can create awesome content every week consistently that your audience will love.
I love that. I absolutely love that. And I am all about, that you mentioned efficient.
Yeah. Because, I don't know about you, but when I first started on social media, you could literally just spend hours scrolling. Let's not even talk about content. It really take up all of your time, and we're busy business people. We don't have all the time in the world, but we know it's important. Like you said, it's very important for getting ranked on Google for a whole number of reasons. So
absolutely.
That's the way to go.
So you alluded a little bit to it, but let's dive in a little deeper. Why should entrepreneurs be concerned with social media content and creating their own social media content system?
Yeah, that's a great question. Social media, I relate social media very often to relationships because it is like building a relationship, and the analogy of relationships works really well with this. So if you're thinking about, let's say you're going to get out there, start dating, you want to make a good first impression. So social media is that first impression. It's what people first see for you. Oftentimes when someone's looking up a new business, let's say there's a new restaurant in the area, I will go check out their Facebook page to see what they've been posting. And so you want to make sure you have fresh, engaging content that's captivating, that's interesting, that tells a little bit about your brand so that people can be, so people can see what you're all about and really buy into whatever it is that you're offering.
Right. I totally agree. So what about the entrepreneur who says, I just have zero design skills? How can they get started on creating this social media content system?
I have zero design skills too. So I know nothing, I know the bare basics of Photoshop. And the great thing about living in 2017 is that you don't need to have all the design skills. There are tools out there that can kind of help you skip the line a little bit. So you don't have to know InDesign or Photoshop or all of these things that may hinder you from taking that first step. So use those tools to your advantage, and creating a system will really help with that as well.
Absolutely. So I know that you're going to go much deeper into tools in the second part of this interview, but can you just give us a brief overview of what kinds of tools we're talking about that we need to create this social media content system?
Yes, I love Canva.com, and that's Canva.com. It has literally saved my entire career. Everything that I do for my clients is through Canva.com. They've got lots of pre-made templates set up for you to kind of, again, help you skip the line. They help you with branding, fonts, colors, all of those things come with this tool. It's free. They do have a paid version as well, but you can get a lot done with the free version. And for those non-designers like myself, it really helps kind of speed that process along.
Nice. Very nice. And I love that there are so many DIY, tools that are out there and available. So what are some of the things that we need to consider when we are designing this social media content system to really be on brand in the things that we're creating?
Yeah, that's a really good question. One of the first things I would suggest is make sure you have a logo and make sure you have brand colors. Now, you don't need to be overwhelmed with this concept of a logo and brand colors because you can go full design kit, hire a branding person to really help you with it. But if you're not there in your business yet, there are other things that you can do to get that logo and get brand colors. So you can use tools like Fiverr.com to get a logo. You can buy a pre-made logo off of Creative Market.
Mm-hmm.
There are some avenues you can take for if you're scrapping it out and you're in the beginning and you don't have thousands of dollars to spend on a branding kit. And you can create that branding kit yourself. There are thousands of blog posts out there that will help get you to the place that you need to be to at least start. And that is that first step. That first step is making sure you have your branding in place, which is your logo, your branding colors, and the fonts that you want to use on social media.
Nice, nice. So what else is there? How do we ensure? So let's say I have my logo, I've got my fonts, I've got my colors. Are there other things that I need to be doing to ensure that my content is branded and that my audience recognizes it as my content?
Yeah, so one of the things that we'll dive deeper into the second part of this interview is creating your own templates. So once you create these templates, this is kind of the hardest part, I think, especially for non-designers. But once you create that template, you can reuse that on social media. And by reusing that, your audience is subconsciously connecting that brand with you. So it'll have your logo, it'll have your colors, even using little tricks like patterns. If you use circles a lot or triangles a lot, will help that audience connect your posts with your brand. Because let's be honest, there's a lot of stuff happening in our feeds every day. Right. We want to make sure that our content is standing out against all of the noise.
Right. So what if you have no idea? So let's step back for just a second when we're talking about our brand. What if you absolutely have no idea for what you want your brand colors to even be?
My number one tip is to just pick one color and stick with it. And that's how I have my brand today. I have this light pink, dusty rose color that I use for everything. And you can use complementary colors to that. I just use gray, black, and white. So you can use gray, black, and white and pick one color. Brands evolve over time. So I wouldn't stress too much about the brand color as long as you pick something and stick with it. Think about big brands like Walmart or Starbucks and how many times they've changed their logo. You be okay with evolving with your brand over time. As you get bigger, you can call in professionals to help guide you into picking the right colors and the right branding, but go with your gut, pick something that feels right to you and feels right for your brand. And that'd be a great place to start and just get content out there.
Nice. Very nice. So can you give us an overview of what a social media content system might look like? Like how, if I want to design my own, what do I need to do?
Right. That's a really good question. The first area that we already talked about was getting your branding down. The second step is figuring out what kind of content you want to share on social media. This will give you an outline for what you need to share.
Mhm.
These types of content can be quotes and they can be promos. I generally suggest sticking with 80% fun, engaging content and 20% promotional material.
Yep.
And then once you have that foundation, you've got your branding colors, you've got a creation system to create these graphics, you've got the types of content that you want to post, then you can organize it in such a way to create your system so that you know, for instance, every Monday at 5 o'clock, you're posting a motivational quote.
Got you. So it's really combining the components of your design with your calendar so that you can choose, what am I posting on Monday? What am I posting on Tuesday? And so on and so forth.
Right, exactly. And one of the things that new business owners feel hesitant about is the fear that they're going to sound repetitive. And, creating that content calendar gives you the structure you need to ensure that you're not sounding repetitive. So even if you do know every Monday at 5, you've got that motivational quote, you can still cater that quote to be specific to today and be specific now. And that will help guide you through the fear of being repetitive and also give you some structure so that you don't have a complete mind blank when it comes to what to post today.
Right. Well, and I think it's also important for people to understand that the lifespan of a post is not as long as you would think. One of the things that we can learn from the larger marketers out here is that, Cognitive Psych 101, right? You have to be exposed to something at least 21 times before it clicks. That's the reason when you see movie advertisements, they come well in advance of that movie actually being in theaters. So if you start applying some of these components that marketers out here in our world are using every day to what you're using, that kind of offsets a little bit of that fear of being repetitive. It's actually not necessarily a bad thing to be repetitive. Somebody sees it the first time, or they may have just skimmed it, or they may have just glanced at it. And the second time it comes across their desk, they might be like, oh, wait a minute, I saw this last time. Let me slow down and look, right? So I think that there is some of that as well, just understanding that repetitive is not necessarily a bad thing. Just make sure that people recognize it as yours.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and it helps solidify your brand in their minds. I love that movie theater example. And I mean, you can use the same thing with like commercials or jingles. Like we find ourselves singing or humming things throughout the day that we didn't realize we just internalized. Right. And that's exactly how your audience will look at it. I mean, they want it, they need that repetitive content to kind of help them remember that you're here.
Yes. And people are busy. So you talked a little bit earlier about, the noise in our online space. There's so much chaos going on that sharing something with somebody a couple of times is not necessarily a bad thing. Give them a chance to see you.
Yeah, if you don't put it out there, then they definitely won't see it.
So let's talk a little bit about some pro tips that you use when designing your own social media content system. What are some of those pro tips that you can share with the audience that can help them get up and running and actually maintain this over time and create a good solid system?
Yeah, one of the things that I personally do is create a spreadsheet. So it's not the most glamorous thing in the world, but you can actually grab the spreadsheet in my VIP resource library, which I believe the link will be around this video.
Yep.
And this spreadsheet will guide you through exactly what to post and when. So if you are feeling stuck, you have no idea where to start, that's a really good place. Right. Now, if you've already been posting content for a little while, but you just don't have any organization to it, create your own spreadsheet. Take a look at what posts are doing well. Take a look at what posts you'd like to share. Let's say you've got a promotion going on, and start with the end in mind. Figure out what goal you want to get out of social media, and then create a system around that that can help you achieve that goal. Mm-hmm. So the holidays are a really great example. If you want to do a promotion for the holidays, let's say a Black Friday sale, right. You actually want to start promoting that probably the beginning of October. just to kind of get it into people's minds. But in order to start doing that, you kind of have to have a system in place. So, you know, every Wednesday I'm promoting this, or twice a month I'm at least going to mention it somewhere. And then you can fill in the other areas of the month to kind of give yourself a system to get to that end goal.
Right, right. Yeah, those are really, really good tips. I think it's super important to project out well in advance what it is you're trying to produce in the social space.
Mm-hmm.
So what about automation and scheduling tools? Do you use any of those, or do you recommend that people use them?
Yes, I do. One of the things that will really help you with these systems is, especially when you're just starting out, don't feel like you have to create original content on every single platform.
Right.
You can post the same thing on Facebook and on Twitter at the same time. And there are a lot of tools that will help you with that. One of them that I personally like is Hootsuite. The free account, I believe you get 3 social media profiles, so it's a really great place to start.
Yeah.
Buffer also works really great. Their free service, I believe, is 1 or 2 profiles, and they kind of help you with what times to post, and they also help you by letting you know what content's working really well, and they prompt you to reshare it. So that could really help for your systems as well.
Very nice.
Some of the other popular ones are CoSchedule and Meet Edgar. Once you start getting a lot more content under your belt, those are investments that you may want to consider to kind of help streamline your system.
Right, right. Absolutely. And one of the things that I like to do is, you know, again, we talked a little bit about projecting things out, right? Knowing that I have, for instance, this summit coming up, right? So designing things ahead of time and putting those out there and already having all that pre-scheduled saves me a ton of time and allows me just to be available to the audience to answer questions and, you know, emails and whatever else they may need, because that back channel is already running for me. I don't have to try and stop what I'm doing. Oh yes, I have to remember that I have to post something today. It makes it so much easier. So when you don't have a marketing team right outside that door, those scheduling tools can certainly help a ton. So I know we're getting to the end of this interview, but can you tell people how can they reach out to you and maybe work with you or access some of the resources that maybe you have available?
Yes, I am everywhere at OnlineDrea.
Okay.
I'm very active on Twitter and Instagram. Those are my 2 favorites. So you can tweet me a question. I'd be happy to answer it. My website's OnlineDrea, and on my website, I've got a whole library full of resources that I use every day that can help you create the content system that will kind of fast track you towards getting regular, consistent content out there.
Very cool. Thank you so much. Guys, look for her links below. You will see not only her freebies, but also ways in which to get in touch with her. And for those of you who are part of the All Access Pass, stick around because we are going to dive even deeper with Andrea into creating your own social media content system so that you are up and running in no time. Thanks, everyone. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.